You hear me?
Oh, yeah.
So I don't know.
But remember, nice and close to your lips the whole time.
Like this?
Like that. Like you
Okay.
Hello! Sorry, try that again.
It's all right.
Hello. William Han here, host of the podcast you're about to listen to. But before we get going properly, I wanted to share a bit of news, which I've not shared on the podcast yet. But if you've been following me on social media, you're probably already aware. But this podcast, this album, is doing a live show. That's right. On the 12th of September, 2025, I'm bringing this podcast to West Hampstead Arts Club. At the time of record, there are 9 tickets left. Hardly surprising it sold so well because I have got some absolutely wicked guests coming along with me. I've got icon from Yorkshire and frontman of Silver Tongue Rascals, Mr. Ben Random. And I've got the man behind the Scream Rock podcast. It's Mr. Jake Farrell. So that's 12th of September, West Hampstead Arts Club. This album live with me, William Han. 9 tickets remaining. Would love to see you there. And now, before we get on with the podcast proper, shall we hear from some friends of the show? Mr. Will Gamble. Hello, mate. How'd you get on at Glastonbury?
Glastonbury this year, well, it was definitely an improvement on 2024 with the crowd control. I thought they did that much better, like locking off Kneecap and increasing this sort of stage area for Charlie XCX. That paid off big time. I'm thinking about everyone from Busta Rhymes. I thought he was really cool. To Inhaler, The Libertines, Chic, Rod Stewart was great. Skepta filling in was awesome. Blossoms in the Tent, Father John Misty. The undercard this year was incredible. The headliners, Neil Young was great. I thought he was fantastic. And I loved how the fact that he played raw and live in the flesh. He had, I don't know if anyone would have seen this, but he had the sort of PA system of no in-ears, nothing in his ears. But he had a little PA system facing him on stage as well, so he could hear everything. And that was some talent. The age he is, 79, to be able to do what he's doing. I thought he was awesome. 1975, I'm not a fan of. It's just not for me. I've tried now. That was my 3rd time seeing them, all at festivals. So we'll glaze over that one. And I wasn't planning on seeing Olivia Rodrigo, but I ended up being there on the Sunday night because my legs were shot and I was there all dead and all there, Olivia Rodrigo. And she was awesome. I was really impressed by that. And it's not the sort of music I would typically listen to, but I thought if that's where pop music's going, that's a very exciting direction that it'll be heading. And she brought out Robert Smith. And that was a complete surprise to me. I had no idea that was coming. And I don't think anyone in the field did, But yeah, the food this year, I've always wanted, it's my 5th Glastonbury, and I've always wanted to check out the food more. And now this year, I feel like I really made the most of that, seeing a complete different side to the festival as opposed to just, I just find this place at the shortest queue and get that to fill me up. But yeah, definitely better than 24. And I think there's going to be a big bounce back in 2027. And we go again, don't we? The best place in the world. And it's still the best festival in the world. There's no doubt about that. So yeah, over and out. And we'll see you in 2027, Glasto.
Thank you, Will Gamble there, TikTok sensation and the face of modern musical journalism. Shall we get on with the show proper? It's a rhetorical question. We're getting on with the show. Let's roll. Hello and welcome to this album with me, William Han. Normally, it's the podcast where each episode a guest and I would deep dive an album of their choice, but this is no ordinary episode. This is a Glastonbury debrief. And today, I am joined by a woman behind one of the most listened to episodes of this podcast of all time. She's a fan favourite. She's a dear friend of mine. It's Marie Morgan.
Hi again.
She's back, baby.
Yep, I am.
Hello, Marie.
Hello.
I say, is it morning or afternoon? It's morning still.
Okay.
Morning, Marie.
Oh, wow.
No, it's not.
No, I was going to say, no.
Good afternoon, Marie.
Well, you can tell we went out yesterday.
We went out yesterday. Hello, how are you?
I'm good.
Yeah?
Considering, yeah. Shall I say where we were yesterday?
It would be criminal not to.
So we went to the gathering of, I think, every person with a little bit of Irish in them in London.
Yes,
We were at Fontaine's,
Yeah.
DC, in Finsbury Park.
Yeah.
It was very funny, actually, because I think I said to you when I got on the train, because the Metropolitan line is down this weekend, which is really annoying. It was so clear the distinct tribes of who was going to places yesterday.
Sarah said the exact same thing.
It was
on the
like,
tube,
it was Irish shirts, tracksuits, Fontaine's. It was bows and headscarves and like cute things for Sabrina, and then rainbows for Pride. And it was actually quite funny because it was just so obvious, the tribes. But yeah, so
London was alive yesterday, wasn't it?
It really was.
Yeah. How alive are you feeling today?
Oh, well, a lot better than I was feeling this time last week anyway, which was Sunday of Glastonbury. So yeah, it's a week. It's exactly a week after.
Is that all it's been? It feels like so much longer, doesn't it?
Yeah, definitely.
Jesus. Fontaine's, what a band.
Oh, I mean, I love them. I can't remember how many times I've seen them, but it's a lot.
Yeah.
But yeah, it was a really, really good gig. I think we spoke about this. Obviously, when it was booked, it was Kneecap were on, about 5 o'clock, then Amel and the Sniffers, then Fontaine's.
Not a bad day out.
No, I mean, there was bands before that as well. But the one thing that was a bit challenging was obviously Kneecap have, just grown hugely in that time since that booking. And they were great. I watched them with you. And then every single person in the entire field or park was like, I need to go to the toilet and I need to get a drink.
Yes.
And
bad time to be a Guinness in Finsbury Park yesterday. He didn't stand a chance.
I know. And I will say, like, post Glastonbury, I forgot how annoying it is to queue for things. And we can talk about that when we talk about Glastonbury. But I was like, oh my God. Like, we actually went to the toilet in normal, and we tried to go in VIP, waited 40 minutes.
Oh, in the VIP?
In the VIP bit.
Shit.
So annoying.
I wasn't there, by the way. I was of the scumbags for the listeners.
Then we decided to try and get a drink. We were like, actually, it's going to be easier. So we then walked around the whole park because we thought it was going to be easier than in VIP. It wasn't. We went back. And then we tried to get some food. And then Amel and the Sniffers, we basically missed all of them, which was very annoying. But I think it was just a particularly bad time because it did calm down and it was fine.
Yeah, there's always peaks and troughs for this stuff. Post Kneecap, it was always going to be a busy one at the bar, wasn't it?
Yeah, and it was just, I'm going to say a controversial statement here, but I missed the long drops. I missed not having to queue because I just don't care. I just want to like waste as little time of my life queuing as possible. So yeah, I
did think yesterday, should we have brought the game-changing pea bowls that Glastonbury was enriched by?
I like how you say enrichment. I'm not too sure if I would call it that. I use them a lot.
I think they do benefit from nighttime usage, don't they? There's something a bit grimmer about doing it under the sun.
So we'll get into it, but I actually didn't use any in the night this time because I had quite a nice toilet that was quite close walking distance because I was staying somewhere different to you. But I did use one in Charlie XCX and I don't know how successful it was. It was dark. I thought we're not going to worry about that.
A shot and a fire and a miss maybe, but a mystery left unsolved.
I don't think this is not something I thought I'd be talking about.
Yeah, we came to that one pretty quickly.
Yeah.
But back to yesterday, honestly, it feels like watching Kneecap in summer 2025. It feels like you can say, I was there, doesn't it? Like
100%.
Yeah, like this. There hasn't been a band of the moment like this for like a generation, it feels like, doesn't it?
Oh God, no! I mean, it's wild, and I think I haven't said it on here. I told you, but Bob Vylan was there yesterday.
Yes, he was.
Which I know. I keep saying we will get onto it, but it was quite interesting to see. Obviously, that solidarity between all of the bands. Yeah. Obviously, it is impossible not to be political right now. And you
so off the bat, we should probably mention, by the way, Free Palestine, Trans Lives Matter, Equal Pay for Women.
I mean, I'm into all three of those things. But yeah, it felt yesterday like, the atmosphere was still very electric with all of those bands that really care. It was fascinating how kind of all the focus was on the two bands last week when actually you had like Amel and all these amazing people saying all of this incredible stuff, but the media obviously just chose to focus on one. So there you go. Maybe two.
So what do you reckon? What makes Kneecap such a great prospect and like an exciting act in 2025?
Well, I was actually talking to someone about this yesterday. I don't know if it was you. And I think people forget that Kneecap actually they were the kind of most interesting thing about them. That sounds a bit harsh, but the thing that was really amazing was obviously their commitment to the Irish language and rapping in Gaelic. So I think firstly, it's just amazing to see people who are really on the like fringe of society kind of doing something incredible and really caring about what they do. And then obviously their political leaning and, you know, I guess kind of a lot of the, I'm trying to even think what was the, what are the examples, but obviously all the kind of stuff that's happened. I think people just, it's great to see people who just give a shit.
Yeah.
And I think that's what it is. They're obviously not without controversy. Oh, hello. My cat has come to sit on my lap. But, you know, I think it's just, I'd be very intrigued to see kind of what they do next, how things work out. You know, the atmosphere there yesterday was amazing. I did see them at Glastonbury and it was probably better there, but I think that was maybe just because it was so highly anticipated as one of those biggest performances. You know, yesterday, I think we were saying there wasn't as many Palestine flags as I might have assumed there'd be. And I think people were nervous about bringing them. Whereas obviously at Glastonbury, there was flares, there was flags. And I was given a flag in the crowd. It was amazing. It's going to add to the atmosphere quite a lot more, and I think that you felt like you were sort of witnessing like a moment that will go down in history. Yeah. So whereas yesterday, it was amazing, don't get me wrong, but it when you're in that slightly more like corporate feeling environment where, you know, you've got a barrier in front of you.
I think there's a difference in energy as well, because people had to get to Kneecap early. They're 3-4 days into the festival by that point. They sort of found their feet a bit, haven't they? Whereas people have just walked into a park, barely got a beer, barely met with their mates yet. There's always be a difference in atmosphere compared to those
exactly.
Two things. But what a day yesterday, and here we are powering through our hangovers. If I can put the sentence together, to bring content to the world. But that was yesterday. Let's take a little step further back and discuss the best place on earth.
It really is.
Fucking hell. Glastonbury 2025. Off the bat, initial thoughts, feelings and emotions.
So it was the most exhausting Glastonbury I've ever been
100%,
to. And that word has been said by a lot. And I think maybe it is because we are all getting a little bit older. But I actually think that, and I mentioned this last time, I hadn't been since 2022. And just those few degrees hotter, the difference it made was crazy. I've never walked as much, and some of that was self-inflicted because of where I was staying. But on Sunday, it's just started raining really like out of nowhere.
We nearly sat outside, so this has worked out pretty well, hasn't
it? I've never felt exhaustion like I did on Sunday. Like I just was like, I cannot get up and walk. And I only saw you for about 5 minutes on Sunday, and we sat and didn't talk to each other. And then you just got up and went, I'm going back to my tent.
Yeah.
And,
that's exactly
you know,
what
I knew you would resurface, but I just had a nap.
I needed some time. Floor. Yeah. So pretty mentioned I was watching the Libertines on Sunday, one of, I guess our favourite bands really, isn't it? You know what I mean? And I got to the stage, sat straight down, which is pretty out of character for me. And after about 4 songs, lied down horizontally. After about 30 seconds, I thought, this is pointless. Go back to the tent. Fuck off. I'll see you later. And stayed horizontal for about another 2.5 hours. It was extreme, man. It was a lot of hard work, this Glastonbury. And I think I've been to hotter ones before. I think like 2010 or whatever it was, the Stevie Wonder year.
Yeah.
That was really hot. But it was forecast to be. I was ready for that. And it felt like I wasn't expecting such extreme weather this time. I remember one morning, I think it's the Saturday, maybe it's the Friday, and I sat at the tent. And I felt like I was being gaslit by the weather app on iPhone. I'm looking at it, it's saying 21 degrees. I'm saying, this is not 21 degrees. It is fucking scorching.
And the irony of this is our friend Bally made quite a funny error a couple of weeks before Glastonbury in the WhatsApp.
A few in his time, but go on.
But he started sharing the weather forecast because obviously
we are all very funny. Like, this is so fucking funny.
I don't even think I need to say this because it's probably quite obvious by the fact we're doing this. They're talking on this podcast, but we all get a bit geeky about this stuff. And that group. It was after the last time we recorded it that you added me into it. I wasn't in it before. And he was like, oh, the weather is looking really hot.
Like extremely hot, like dangerously hot.
37 degrees for the Friday. And I was like, oh my God, I was telling people at work, I was like, it's going to be 37 degrees next week. Next day he says, oh, Yeah, I made a slight mistake. There's a place called Glastonbury in America.
And like Massachusetts or something, wasn't
he showed us the forecast, which really, really made me laugh. However, it did feel like it was 37
It
degrees
didn't feel
at some
far
of those
off,
points.
did it?
So
It was getting
maybe,
Massachusetts style, yeah.
maybe
Fucking
he
hell.
was right somehow.
It's not often I say this about Bawley, but he might have been fucking right.
Yeah, but it really amused me.
He was so
thank
wrong,
you
he
for
was
that.
right. But yeah, it was a really extreme one. I think it only sort of dawned on me this year, like everything at Glastonbury is like more extreme than you think it would be. So like the heat, the cold, the tiredness, the hydration, the dehydration, the highs are so high and the lows can hit like a ton of fucking bricks, can't they?
Yeah. And I think I say the word exhaustion because it was like, I've never had that kind of physical exhaustion before. And I actually definitely felt mentally a lot better post-festival than I have done before.
Same.
I didn't find it like, and I also realise now in hindsight, I was actually very unwell with COVID last time, but I just thought, oh, it's just post-festival. But actually I was like, no, that wasn't.
But COVID-free this year,
We're COVID-free this year. So far, all of our gang have been quite, okay. Yeah, I've never felt it, but it doesn't detract at all from how good it was. But it yeah. And I was saying with you, I was saying about that really hot year, about how hard it was. And then I was suddenly like, oh God, yeah, but I literally was like, God, 13 years younger, whatever, you know, no wonder we could cope with it a bit better.
A bit more invincible back then, aren't you?
Yeah.
Shall we start at the beginning then? Let's talk about Wednesday at Glastonbury Festival. So I arrived by coach, as I normally do, got a lovely early one from Wembley Stadium, arrived at the festival, arrived at the gates at about 9 o'clock, about an hour and a half to get in. My tent bag, the zip had broken on it.
Ooh.
Yeah, not great. So I had poles falling out of my bag and fucking all sorts. So it was a bit of hard work. I survived, nothing too traumatic. Got to the campsite, set up, easy enough, no dramas. Cans were opened by about 11:30 midday. Gorgeous. Remind me, what time did you go to the site on Wednesday, Marie?
So I did not actually go into the site on Wednesday. Controversial.
What?
So we decided this year to stay off-site. I've never done it before, but I've been quite lucky to have had access to hospitality tickets the last few years.
Yes.
And this year we just had a kind of standard ticket. So we decided, because of having our son and like just kind of, we didn't know when we could go down. We were all sort of playing it by ear, that we were going to stay. And we stayed in somewhere called Camp Zigu. And it was about a 3-minute drive in a coach from the site. And then you were dropped off at, I can't remember what the gate was called, but it was one where all the coaches drop off.
Yeah.
It was amazing. It was a different experience, but
So what were the pros and cons of Camp Zigu? What was it called?
Camp Zigu.
Camp Zigu.
So for clarity, it was £2,200 for our bell tent, which we shared with our friends Sean and Vicky.
Oh, there's 4 of you. Okay, right. Okay.
Yeah, so there was 4 of us. So it was obviously a lot of money, but for like, this is a holiday for all of us. You can who's saved up for it. The pros were having a bed, a proper bed. There were also, I would say, the longest I queued for anything was maybe 5 minutes. There was more than you needed, and I think I found it was a really nice. It was so nice to wake up in the morning and not feel like you were going straight into a queue for the toilet, straight into a queue for a shower, straight into a queue for food, and it just made such a difference to have a few hours without that. It kind of geared you up for it. They also had the food they had food places. They had a bar, which I never went to. They had a beauty tent, which Sean called the Birds Get Ready tent, which had loads of free things in it. And even the freebies I got from there, I was like, that's worth about £100.
Really?
Yeah.
Fucking hell.
Really nice. So it was really, really good. And I would definitely recommend it. Oh God, the best thing I haven't mentioned, they pick you up, you drive in, you park your car, they get a buggy that comes over to your car. The check-in was, I would say, from when we arrived and dropped our car off, we were in our bell tent unpacking 10 minutes later. Because they get a buggy that comes and gets everything from the car. And we bought a massive cool box, which it was great. Like, we literally still had cold drinks on Monday morning.
Wow.
That was great. The downsides were the walking. It added a lot of extra walking. And that is definitely why I felt so exhausted on Sunday. I really was like, that I just thought I cannot bear the thought of that. And I'd also read before I came that the coaches I mentioned that take you the buses to and from site, they were, I never waited for one. They were so good.
That'd be my anxiety of like walking for hours, 3-4 in the morning, getting there, and there's no fucker there to take you home.
That was what was great about it. There was at no point did they like underestimate or under cater for things, like what I mean by there not being queues. But I'd heard on Sunday night, through no fault of their own, the road gets gridlocked with everyone leaving.
Ah, right.
So
yeah.
It did make me, on Sunday, I was really nervous all day because I've heard that people walk back to the site.
Right.
And I don't know how long that would take, but when you're that tired, I was like, the thought of an extra half an hour or so of walking. So I did go quite soon after the headliner, and we probably got on the last bus that where we didn't have to wait, and it was, say, a 3-minute drive was a 15-minute drive, but I didn't care because my bed was in sight at that point.
Sure.
But yeah, that was probably the only downside. And also you couldn't go back and forth to your tent. Some people did, I've seen on TikTok, particularly people with younger kids, but for us it was like when you were out, you were out.
Yeah, that's sort of what I always figured. Yeah.
So it did mean I missed a few of the earlier people in the day because, I was like, I could see Supergrass, or I could take another hour, knowing that I'm going out all day and I kind of need to be out. So but it was great, and I don't know if I could go back. Well, I can go back to normal. I can go back to normal camping, but I've got 2 years to worry about that. So
yeah, if you're lucky. Best case scenario, 2 years.
Exactly.
Class. Yeah. So for me, Wednesday didn't get up to much, Maria. Don't mind telling you.
No.
Probably the laziest Wednesday of my Glastonbury career. Pretty much stayed at the campsite the entire time. It was time well spent. Had a right laugh. Didn't feel the itch to get anywhere. I did watch the pyramid stage thing, the circus.
Yes, I've heard mixed reviews about it.
That's a very nice way of putting it. Marie, it was shit.
Really?
It was shit.
It's very rare that you say something that Glastonbury was shit.
That is a bit shit. To be fair play to them though. It was a great idea. The idea of getting loads of people into the pyramid field and sort of spreading the audience out a little bit. Does it mean it was fun? No. No one really understood what was going on. Pretty shit. Yeah,
because the Wednesday is definitely becoming, I mean, it has been a thing for a long time, but,
people will want to dance, and there's nowhere to do it.
And I remember, the last time I went, we got into NYC Down Low on Wednesday, which was amazing. But I think now people know that things that aren't advertised as being open are open. It's like a bit of a warm-up. So,
yes. Apparently, though, even that was mobbed this year.
Yeah.
I shouldn't have mentioned it on that podcast, should I? Fucking hell. Oh, well. Secret's out now,
exactly.
baby. And then Thursday. Where do we start on Thursday?
Well, I feel like your day might have started a bit earlier than mine. I think we took it a bit easy on Thursday. We didn't get in till sort of early afternoon.
Yeah. This is true. I don't think I got that carried away on Thursday, in all honesty. I think I kept a pretty level head. Ate well, hydrated well. And I guess there was just a brief 15 minutes of euphoria when I got pretty carried away, didn't I, Marie?
Well, so you were watching... Was it Beatles Dub Club?
Friend of the show, former guest of the podcast, Mr. Chris Arnold, a.k.a. Beatles Dub Club, a man fast becoming a Glastonbury legend.
Yeah.
So we got there pretty early. We pitched up about an hour before, and we watched an act before him. I forget the name of the guy now, but he was incredible, actually. Very charismatic, very handsome man, hell of a dancer, sort of spoken word stuff over quite garagey beats, and finished with a Talking Heads cover.
Ooh.
It was amazing. Really, really good stuff. And then Beatles Dub Club started. For those that don't know, it's basically like dub, reggae, drum and bass remixes of Beatles songs. So danceable, so fun. And for Beatles obsessives like most of us, it's fucking paradise, really. Watched them last year, had a great time. And about 15 minutes into their performance this time round, I see a smile appear in the crowd. An unrecognisable smile? What's I looking for?
Recognisable, I think is what you were trying to say.
An instantly recognisable smile of your dear husband and my dear friend, Joe Boy.
Yeah.
If I could bottle that feeling of like seeing that smile and you and Sean and Vicky coming through the audience and just all of our lot going, yeah! It was like fucking England scoring a goal or something. And like,
it was
I think
so
even those
fun.
around us sort of got a bit swept up in it as well. It was fucking just, it was such a feeling. It was like England scoring a goal in the World Cup. It really was. How was your arrival? That was the first time we got to cross paths at Glastonbury, wasn't it? Was it a warm enough welcome for you, Marie?
Oh, it was so fun. And the lovely Vicky we've mentioned, it was her first Glastonbury.
Yes.
So I was so excited to see what it was like for someone who hadn't been before, but like personality-wise, you just knew would absolutely love it.
Yeah.
And I think going to Greenpeace, watching something like that with all your friends is just, and the weather was beautiful. We all still had some energy at that point. So yeah, it was so fun. I cracked open my first drink and just, it was lovely.
Should probably add as well, so your husband, as great as his entrance was, what made it funnier was that he was carrying a fucking cool box backpack that was at least twice the size, maybe 3 times the size of him. So fighting through the crowd at the Greenpeace stage of this thing on his fucking back. What an absolute superstar.
Yeah, we made the decision, and it was a very good decision, but we made the decision to buy this
there was benefits and negatives to it, wasn't there, I think? Yeah.
It was like a proper backpack with a cool bag in it.
Massive.
And we were like, oh, should we buy this? It was like 50 quid. But then I was like, I think at our age, we're probably going to get a lot of use out of a cool backpack. Like there's a lot of things I waste my money on, but that I don't think is. And it was great. It did keep the drinks really cold.
Yeah.
But it was also huge. And I said, we'll bring it, we'll put it in the lockups, and then we'll, go back and get things out of it.
That's a great idea, actually. Fucking hell.
Oh, but it didn't really work out like that. But it was great, actually, because we did not we basically brought a lot of booze because we knew we could just, bring it all home because of the tent I mentioned. And I actually... when Bill got here, I was offering him like some quite strange drinks from my fridge because I was like, we brought back so many things. I was like, do you want a Capri Sun? Do you want a Copperberg? Do you want this? Do you want that?
Lovely an offer as it was, I've opted for a dash blackcurrant sparkling water.
Delicious.
0 calories.
Delicious.
It was class, wasn't it? It was so much fun. And before we speak about what happened to me during that set, shall we hear from Mr. Chris Arnold himself? I've got a little message. A few friends of the podcast have left us a little voice note. So would you like to hear Chris's message?
I would love to hear it.
Let's see what Chris has got to say. Chris Arnold there, friend of the show, Mr. Beatles Dub Club himself. Few talking points raised there. Where do we start?
I think he made some very, very valid points, and I agree with pretty much everything he said. The big one, it felt like the mainstream media was on a bit of a mission to slate Glastonbury this year, both before and after. I think the point about the Independent article, I did read it before, and I do think there are very, very valid points raised in it. I think obviously, we can sit here and we can defend certain parts of it, but it does feel a little bit off, that particularly with like the queer venues like Scissors and places like that, it does feel maybe a little bit, I don't want to say exploitative, but I do really believe, actually to the point he made, that Glastonbury will do something about it, because we have seen them address some of the criticism they've had in the past.
Yeah. They're always striving for better, aren't they?
Exactly.
They're always looking to improve, yeah.
Let's hope we see a change, and I hope that Emily will address something. On the overcrowding point, so as I mentioned, I'd had hospitality access in previous years. So I had been able to use some of the interstages and things like that. So I was really nervous that this year I would find it a lot harder because, I guess I wasn't used to it, and I'd read so much about how bad the crowding had been in the previous years, and a lot of our friends had said it. After, I think maybe on about Saturday, I said straight away, it really does feel like it's better. And I felt a lot of the crowd management, even though it was a bit frustrating at times, was really good. We were like racing around trying to get into Charlie because they kept saying next entrance. But when you were in there, you were like, this is fine. Same with Kneecap. I was in there. It was fine. And I just felt like you really could see that they'd made the effort with obviously making the other stage bigger. And I thought it was great.
Let's send up notifications throughout the day saying this stage is going to be busy. Find alternative plans.
Yes, definitely.
Legendary.
Yeah,
it's a really cool move.
And it was definitely nice for the artists who were on those as well.
Definitely.
Yeah.
It's a bit of an ego boost, isn't it? Yeah, class. Something else he mentioned there, he brought his daughter Hazel to her first ever Glastonbury, 6 months old, I believe. I don't know about you, I found it unbelievably emotional when he brought his daughter on stage. Played Here Comes the Sun and didn't do like a remix of it like he normally does, just played the song as is. And what a core memory for someone to make, to bring their daughter on stage and play that song. And as soon as it started, I just saw lots of people throw their arms around their mates. And I don't know, I was just thinking about my friends that have kids like yourself, and like friends of mine I know that want kids, and watching him create that beautiful moment with his daughter, I just found it unimaginably emotional and cried my eyes out during that. So thank you for that, Chris. It was really nice.
First cry on a Thursday.
First cry on a Thursday. Didn't take long, did it?
A little bit longer, but
didn't take long. But then, as Chris alluded to, that sort of emotional euphoria came to a bit of a gear change pretty soon afterwards, didn't it, Marie?
It did. I was walking out of Beatles Dub Club, and we were all sort of trying to figure out where you're going next, what you're doing.
Well, the plan was MJ Cole, something I've been looking forward to for quite a long time. Big fan of MJ Cole. Literally playing the field next door at the Glade. Didn't make it, did I, Marie?
You didn't make it, no. And I turned around, and you were, because you're quite a tall man.
I'm a tall man.
You're a very tall man. And
suddenly I was a bit hard of the spot, wasn't I? Because I was on the floor, Marie. I had a wobble.
I didn't see the exact moment of the wobble, but I saw the aftermath, and you were sat on the floor, and everyone was around you, but we were trying not to crowd you. I did go and refill your water bottle for you.
Legend.
It was a really nice water bottle, actually.
Thank you.
And you just sort of, you sat it out, and I think after a little while we realised that you maybe needed a little bit longer. So I did go to MJ Cole, sorry.
You did? Great.
Yeah, but I left you.
I gave you the all clear, though. There was enough people there with me. It was so there's a few funny things that happened, right? So, like, where I sort of fell down, there was like a little cage next to me. And, like, everyone was stood around me like I was a fucking chimp in a zoo. And everyone was going like, get in the cage, Bill. You belong in the cage like a fucking animal. And, I think everyone sort of, like I say, after a couple of minutes, everyone knew that, 10 minutes or so, that I'm not dead, I'm not going to die. I've just had a wobble and fainted. And people were pouring water over my head and things like that to cool me down. Very nice of you. I look like a fucking maniac in the photos, though, don't I? I look like I've literally poured fucking drink all down myself. So thanks for that. You got the photo, actually, didn't you?
I did. And I think I was like, I think there was a lot of comments being made already about this is going to be discussed in the podcast.
Yeah,
but
yeah, absolutely. I knew that it was funny though. As much as it was a bit scary at first, I instantly knew I'm not going to fucking die or anything. Like, this is funny. It's objectively funny.
Yeah, and it's also just because you're quite you're not a faint, like you're not someone I would ever associate with fainting. You're someone who, you know, normally is like...
I'm an active man.
Yeah, exactly, you know. And it was just that, it was like, oh my God, it's like 2:00 on Thursday and we've already lost someone.
Man down.
And I did think, am I going to see you again? And you did triumphantly return.
I did,
later.
and we'll get to that.
Yeah.
But no, it was a little bit scary actually, because basically it was obviously, as mentioned, a boiling hot fucking day, but I was really cold after I'd fainted, like really cold. And I was like, this isn't good. You know what I mean?
So
luckily,
maybe...
Kira gave me, she said like, apparently salt and sugar will sort your body out a bit in that situation. She got me a massive portion of chips and cheese, vegan cheese of course, and I devoured them. I'm like looking on the, it was like a monged out fucking idiot walking down these fucking chips on the floor, covered in water. I thought, Kira, that was amazing. I need, can you get more instantly? Like, oh, absolutely, straight away. Got me some more, can of Coke. And then they brought me back to the campsite. And like I said, borrowed my brother's jacket. I mean, God knows why he brought him with him, but Jack had a jacket with him. And I was wearing this on the walk back to the tent. I looked like such a fucking psychopath, freezing cold, wearing this jacket while everyone's sweltering in t-shirt and shorts. I was like, it's not good, this. So I got back to the campsite, sat in the chair for a bit, and Kira's Googling away, and she said, well, Bill, it seems like from what I'm seeing here, when you faint, you need to lie down horizontally. I was like, let me try that then. So I sat in the tent. Within 5 minutes, my body just warmed up again. Oh. Yeah, back in the game. So I sort of lied down for about maybe another hour or two, can't remember now. But then by 8 p.m, I was back in the fucking game, wasn't I?
You were.
I was back in the game. So the plan was, I'm not sure what you guys got up to now. I was definitely having my eye on watching Confidence Man at levels. Didn't happen. But what did happen once I was back to life is that I was looking at what was going on, who was playing, and about 5 minutes walk from my campsite was an old friend DJing, Mr. Chris Arnold. It was 80s dub club at, is it The Hive it was called?
Yes, it was actually, yeah.
Exactly. So I text the WhatsApp group, guess what, motherfuckers, I'm back in business. And I think I had the Joe Boy experience of like walking into the crowd.
Yeah.
And everyone's seeing this big smile appear from across the dance floor.
Yeah.
Yes, Bill, he's back. So that was quite a good feeling. And we danced, didn't we?
We did. We had a lot of fun there. That sort of marked the like turning point of the evening into sort of the nighttime.
Exactly. Bit. I think the sun was setting during that. It was about 8:30, 9 o'clock or so, I think it was. Yeah. That was a lot of fun. Loads of silliness. Loads of big choruses with reggae covers. It was class. It was
really fun. And I think I tend to not have much of a plan on Thursday.
Yeah.
I will always just Thursday. I just really want to go with the crowd because you mentioned that Confidence Man. I was like,
it's going to be shut down.
It's going to be
never
too busy.
Happen, yeah.
And at that point, I will watch anything. I'm so happy. I'm so full of energy.
Yeah, that's true. Actually, yeah.
So,
rather than chasing an act you really like, you can pretty much settle for anything, can't you? Really?
Well, I've written here what not necessarily what I remember, but what I can actually call out. I specifically saw on Thursday.
What you got?
A little bit of MJ Cole.
Class.
So we went to Glade.
Did you get in all right? Was it mobbed?
Do you know what it was? It was mobbed, but also there was kind of just on the like periphery of it, there was a few little shaded bits and like places you could sit. So we actually sort of sat back and listened to it. And it was, as I say, we just all got together. It was so exciting. So we all sat back and chilled and did that. Then I've written, a man read us a story. So we wandered into Green Futures, I think that bit. And we found ourselves in an allotment in a herb garden. Me and Lucy were eating the basil. And then we just walked past a tent and they said, we're doing like stories. Would anyone like to come in and
sounds
hear
very
a story?
Glastonbury.
And obviously, I was like, yes, of course I want to do that. And then kind of about 2 minutes in, thought, oh God, why have I done this? This is very intense. But a gang of us all sat and he told us a really lovely story. I can't remember what it was about, but a man read us a story.
Sounds wholesome.
And then
after watching your mate faint.
After watching, it did feel like a little bit like
nice gear change.
Exactly. Yeah. And then I was out till about 4, I think 3-4ish, maybe 3 on Thursday night because we just went just to pretty much every stage, every bar in Shangri-La and that area. And it was probably my favourite Thursday night I've ever had. It was so fun. There was
the
no
reviews
plan.
are in. Fuck, wow.
It was really good. The gang of us that were there were really good. And one stage that we ended up at, which was totally we just wandered by, was called I hope I pronounced this right, Azadi stage.
Don't know that one.
And it was near the Rum Shack, I think, or the Rum Bar. And it was basically, I don't know if it was all this, but when we were there, it was like kind of like South Asian.
Oh, right. Yeah.
And firstly, it was amazing because like just going in, it was just classic Glastonbury, like going inside and being like, I've got no idea what's going on here, but it was so fun. And we were just dancing away to like some kind of Bhangra DJs.
Oh, right,
and I remember thinking, I need to remember where this is and what it was, because it was great. So that was sort of how our Thursday ended. But we just went from stage to stage and it was just so fun.
Class.
Yeah.
So yeah, on Thursday, I didn't make it via the Shangri-La. I had a very big game plan in mind. It's a Glastonbury tradition now. I went to try and watch Fat Dog.
Where? I didn't even know they were playing on Thursday.
They were playing. They played Strummerville on the Thursday. They played the same slot last year. And honest to God, it may have been one of the most exciting things I've ever watched at Glastonbury in my life. It was like, you just didn't know what was going to happen next. It was quite volatile because the thing's on like a hill, so everyone's going downwards. When there's a slight push, it's fucking bedlam. It's chaos. There was flares going off and people on shoulders. It was so exciting and so fun. But I got there about an hour before they started. Couldn't get near it. Shut down already.
Do you know, you've just reminded me, we did actually go there for that. I think we got there maybe an hour and a half before it started.
Yeah.
Got in, but only half our group got in. And then we were kind of like, I'll be honest, I felt instantly quite tired up there. And I was like, I don't want to be feeling tired. Like, I don't want to be ending my night too early. And we actually ended up leaving. And I mean, it would have been great, but I'm probably not as big a Fat Dog fan as you.
Sure. But that's the thing. So
anyway.
you'd have had to wait there for 90 minutes for the show to start. But it turned out that everyone was running about an hour behind schedule that stage.
God.
So you'd have waited 2.5 hours there. So
we
we sacked it off. We found a good plan B, actually. There was a DJ playing not too far from Strummerville, a guy called Chris Arnold. I don't know if you know. So we'd done the triple. Chris was DJing 6 times that night. We caught 3 of his sets. It was a stage called... was it the Bread and Roses, I think it's called?
Yeah.
Yeah, so we went there. We saw a band on before them. I think they're called Keita Wrestling or something like that. I don't know, but they were really great. Sort of a bit sort of pavement-y, sort of lo-fi, grungy guitars. Really good, really enjoyed that. And then Chris was on afterwards. Naughty's Dub Club this time. So like reggae versions of Naughty's bangers, including things like I Predict a Riot. Hello, Joe. I Predict a Riot. There was Who Let the Dogs Out.
The Cool Box Man has just arrived.
The Cool Box Man has arrived from Tesco's sans backpack of Cool Bag. That was really fun. And he saw me in the crowd and gave me a shout out. This one's for William Han in the audience. Oh, yay. So that was fun. But that came to end about 3-4 in the morning. And this little boy called it a night. Good shift. Good Thursday, apart from the wobble.
Yeah. It's definitely, I think, apart from your wobble, I think paced ourselves. Also, I think to mention at this point, there's one major thing that I did differently this year, which I couldn't recommend enough. I didn't really drink any beer. Now, the main reason for that was because it just was disgusting.
Yeah, sure.
And I don't have much standards, like, generally. Well, I don't know, I say that and then I'm talking about my nice 10. But it was Brooklyn Lager, but it was a Pilsner.
Nice. That's good gear, that.
I normally like
good
Brooklyn
gear, that.
Lager, but it just wasn't good.
Yeah,
and I think,
was on the cause and they went down terribly.
It was really not good. So I mainly drank White Claws.
Same. Yep.
And malt cocktails.
Yes, please.
And tequila and apple sours, which you actually mocked me for, but you did enjoy.
Yeah, enjoy plenty of them. Fucking hell.
And anyway, but it made such a difference. The hangovers. Oh my God, it was so much better.
I got off lightly with the hangovers.
Yeah.
Really did.
So that's what I mean about, like, we did, like, obviously, you know, like, go for it, but it made such a difference.
Went for it differently. Went for it in a different way to previous Glastonburys of
just necking
cans of lager,
or even just pints from the bar. So yeah, it made a big difference.
Yeah,
and it wasn't necessarily super intentional, but now it is. Although I didn't take that advice very well yesterday. Just drinking Guinness. God.
So we're going to move on to Friday, shall we, Marie?
Yes.
In fact, before we do though, should we hear from another friend of the show?
Ooh,
Let's
yes,
hear
please.
from Elliott Andrews, former guest, friend of the podcast, and a man who was working at Glastonbury. Should we hear what Elliott got up to?
Yes.
Hey, thanks for having me on your Glasto Debrief episode. It's a real honour to be back already. And yeah, Glastonbury, I'm probably a good person to talk about it because I went twice this year, sort of. I dipped out on Saturday because I had Hyde Park British Summertime on Saturday with Zach Bryan. I was there with Gabrielle Aplin. But Friday also at Glastonbury with Gabrielle Aplin on the acoustic stage. First time for me even going to the acoustic stage. I absolutely loved it. It was amazing. The vibes were incredible there, considering it was early morning, start of Glastonbury. The tent was packed. And yeah, just good vibes all round on that stage, really. I saw a few of the acts on there, and they were really good. When Gabby finished her set, which she absolutely smashed, we went for a wander round Glastonbury and just to see what was going on. I saw Lola Young over at Woodsies play her big hit Messy, which was incredible. The tent was packed, and then walked over, saw Alanis Morissette. She was amazing as well. Nice bit of nostalgia. The intro tape, though, was something else. I'm not too sure on her intro tape, actually, thinking back about it. She thinks a lot of herself. But there you go. I mean, she is a 7-time Grammy Award winner, as she kept saying in the intro. But it was great. It was really cool. It sounded amazing, to be fair. We were quite far back. Also, quite far back before that for Wet Leg, who I loved as well. And I also had an incredible ice cream whilst watching Wet Leg. It was a great moment. But their backdrop was a pink Hulk. Is it the red Hulk? I don't know, but it looked great anyway. And then Sunday I came back after Hyde Park, and I came back for my time with AJ Tracey on Woodsies. And the first person I saw in the morning when we got there was Kate Nash, which was nice to see her again. And I got to see her perform Foundations with Sprints. So that was cool, seeing someone else playing the drum parts I've been playing for years. And yeah, it was great. Good vibes. I also saw a bit of St. Vincent while we were changing over. It was good. And also saw a bit of Joe. Amazing light show. And yeah, sounded great. But I didn't see as much on Sunday because I was working. But to be honest, for me, Sunday was amazing because AJ Tracey's set, in a non-biased way, was incredible. The tent was absolutely rammed, and it just went off. I was worried because Sunday energy, but actually turns out everyone was still full of beans and still up for a good time. So yeah, loved it. And then Georgia Smith afterwards, also amazing over on Woodsies. So for me, Glastonbury this year was incredible. It was so lovely. And I really enjoyed on Friday walking around after Gabby's set, just going into the green fields. Yeah, it just felt great. Great energy. So yeah, I was really grateful to go this year and be part of it. So yeah, and thanks for having me on your Glasto debrief. Hope it's a good episode. Cheers, mate.
Elliott Andrews there, former guest, friend of the podcast. Should probably mention Elliott's a tour manager for Gabriella Aplin and AJ Tracey. Two very different acts, I think it's fair to say. And he used to be the drummer for Kate Nash, friend of the podcast.
Yeah.
And also he was also a drummer for Paolo Nutini. Best gig of his life was when he played the Pyramid stage with Paolo Nutini. Pretty sick, isn't it?
That is a pretty good one to call out. Yeah.
I think so. Thanks, Elliott. Nice to hear from you. So Friday, you mentioned you didn't get into the site too early. Shall I get things started?
Yep.
So I started the day with 90s icons, Supergrass. Fucking legends for a reason, aren't they, really?
I mean, yeah, I tried to see it. I think some of our gang saw it, but can I, before actually we go into that, so you didn't do Lord? Because that was the big one, wasn't it?
No, I'm a big Lord fan. I do think she's absolutely class. I knew it'd be shut down. I wasn't willing to get there an hour early for it.
No.
I could barely get out bloody bad as it was, you know what I mean?
No.
So,
No.
I've not watched it back. Have you watched it back yet?
I'm not the biggest... I don't dislike her, but I'm not a particularly big fan. And I know that she did her new album in full.
Yes.
I think it was a very smart move of her to do that because the only people that are going to go are going to be massive fans.
Sure.
And you can do that. Like, it's very rare. Like, you're a headliner and you're playing at 11:30 in the morning.
Yeah.
So I thought it was a very
do
smart move.
different rather than doing a best of.
Exactly. I haven't watched it back.
Yeah.
Supergrass. So, and I mean, because it must be such a fun one to open the festival. Yeah.
And they performed their breakthrough album, I Blame Coco, in full, and then a couple of best ofs afterwards. There's a few really awkward parts there where you had the crowd sing along. Oh, what's the song called? But there's the hook where it goes, "How would you know if you never even saw me?" And he sort of pulled back to let the crowd sing that part. No one sang that part. It's a bit cringe. But it was like midday. People have just woken up. You're not going to... I think even, they'd know that, like, you're not going to get a mad reaction. You know?
And like, I would know more Supergrass songs than just All Right.
Yeah.
But you are going to have a lot of people there that are like,
They're
feeling
song,
fresh, they're going to go.
Like second or third song they played, actually, just the way it works on the album.
Yeah.
But it was really good, actually. I remember looking at Jack saying, Britpop Summer has just started.
Wow, yeah, that's very true.
And it did. Britpop Summer is very much amongst us. Supergrass, we then went on to watch the aforementioned Fat Dog on the Woodsy stage. Got in this time, much better than the previous night. And I think it's probably about the 9th or 10th time I've watched Fat Dog now.
Well, it was my first.
Was it really?
Yep.
So talk to me, what's your thoughts and feelings?
Really enjoyed it. Thought they were great. The Joe the Cool Box Man.
Joe the Cool Box Man was
just like,
brought in some olives for us. I'll tell you what, we've got a podcast at your place more often.
Yeah.
Really. Cheers, mate.
So I was like very excited for them. He was a bit like, oh, and I think you can tell it's a good band when afterwards he was like, that was really good. I really enjoyed that. So, they were great. I thought they were perfect for Woodsies. There was really good crowd energy.
Yeah, it was.
We were
going bananas there, weren't they?
I mean, we were further back, but it was really nice, and it was probably one of the few times we had, I think, nearly all the gang together. Great.
Love it. Straight after Fat Dog, it worked quite well time-wise. The DJ that I'm a very big fan of was playing just in the next field, the next stage. It was DJ EZ. Over at Levels. DJ EZ. Absolutely class. We tried to watch him last year in Shangri-La, and he didn't turn up.
Okay.
Yeah, he had to cancel. So about 20 minutes into the previous DJ set, he's overrunning and, just so you know, guys, EZ wasn't able to make it, so I'm going to keep on playing. Fair play. So it was good to get that box ticked off. We got there. There's quite a few of us there, weren't there?
Yeah.
And it was quite busy in there.
I think that the problem was where we were stood, because and there again, I think, you know, none of us are that fussed about going big into the crowds now, which is exactly the right thing to do. But the sound wasn't great, and you were getting a bit of a sound clash from other stages.
There's a beat from the other stages, wasn't
but
there?
look, the energy was high. It was Friday afternoon. It was Friday. We're on Friday now.
We're on Friday.
And also, we were debating whether to talk about this, but I think we have to because it's part of the Glastonbury truth. We had a couple of illegal entrants, I'm going to call it. I don't know how to say it.
We won't name them.
No.
And if the Met Police are listening, you'll never take us alive. But why don't you explain a little bit about what happened with them and how they got on?
So we had a phone call from a dear friend of ours saying, "Oh, I'm coming to Glastonbury," and we were
Why
like,
did they make that decision? How did they make that decision, Marie?
Actually, yeah. They listened to this podcast and they got quite excited, apparently.
That makes us influencers, Marie. They listened to your previous appearance on this podcast. And they said, fuck it. Come hook or by crook. I'm coming.
To be clear, we are not responsible for how they entered. We just
process
purely
is not on us, no.
encourage them. So, our friend said, I'm coming. And we were like, okay, if we see you there, we see you there. And he showed up at EZ, which was very exciting because we were all so delighted. And then another friend actually, I think, arrived a few hours later.
Another late edition. Yeah.
They paid someone to drive them in. I don't know
Where
how
was that person from?
Happened. I feel like we are potentially stereotyping here.
We're not stereotyping. We're just talking about where that person was from.
We're a Scouser.
They're a Scouser.
And I love Scousers. Glastonbury is one of my favourite things. The energy they bring, it's so funny. And what's great as well is that everyone, even though it's such a open-minded place, you can tell
It's class,
where people are from, and it's really funny. But it's so fun. So yeah, they somehow paid someone, I think about 500 quid to get in. And they were in. They didn't have wristbands, they were in. And it's obviously a bit of a weird one because you think, how many people are getting in that way? How much of a difference does it make to the overcrowding? Obviously, it must be very frustrating for Glastonbury because the people who are doing it are working for them because you've got people, So yeah, it was great to have them there. I spent the whole weekend laughing with the two people that came in who we're not mentioning, but yeah. It was just quite interesting because you don't want to believe it happens, but it does.
But it's nice when you get someone in you wasn't expecting. You're like, you're fucking here. You did it. It's pretty fun. It adds an element of I don't know, excitement to things, doesn't it?
Yeah.
I mean, I could never do it. The idea of going there with a backpack and fucking hoping for a miracle and nah.
No, it was
no way.
everything.
I ain't got the spine for it.
Oh my God, no.
But then from EZ, it wasn't, we weren't getting too stuck in, were we? It was more just catching up with your mates at the back and having a bit of a chinwag and a little bit of a dance.
Yeah, and we caught a bit of Katie B as well.
Katie B was afterwards. She's great, isn't she?
Yeah, I mean, but there again, it was still like, the sound wasn't that great. So you felt like you were more sort of stood at the back of a gig rather than in it.
And having a chat with your mates, which is a more than valid thing to do. Your time.
Exactly.
We weren't being, you couldn't have been too disruptive because it was too far back to be ruining someone else's experience. You know what I mean? So that's fine. And then from Katie, we had a bit of a sit down, I think, didn't we? And then, what did you do afterwards?
I think we parted ways, actually. I think I didn't see you again till the next day.
Oh, right, fair enough. So what did you get up to once you parted ways?
I'm going to try and not talk for too long because this is quite long already. Right, so we watched Alanis Morissette, sort of from the right up top near the Mandala bar. We didn't get too in. It was really good fun, but we had a plan. We were going to Wonder Horse, and I love Wonder Horse, and I was really wanting to be able to get a bit closer because it's a park, and obviously at park you kind of can't quite, if you're not in it, and especially after, as I said, with like something like Ezo, but we stood back. So we left on the last couple of songs. We charged it up to park, and Wonder Horse absolutely smashed it.
It looked great on the telly.
The energy, the crowd, it was so good. Oh, it was great. So that was probably one of my highlights. And then we didn't really have a plan. I missed Busta Rhymes, sadly. Yeah, and I was really sad. It was because we were basically, one of my friends, or I'm going to call him a friend of the podcast, Billy Clark, was DJing backstage at Park that night. And we were sort of trying to sort for us to be able to go and see it. So we spent a lot of time sorting that, and then by the time we went and we said, we'll catch the end of Busta, we literally caught the last 30 seconds, which was a shame, but that's Glastonbury for you. Then I did a mixture. We did Fatboy Slim. It was good.
What stage was that on?
I think it was at level. I think it was on levels, actually.
Class.
Now, I don't have any regrets, but I don't know. Myself and the Cool Box were always debating whether to do Fatboy Slim or Fortet, and I think Fortet might have been better, but I also think it would have been a bit more full on.
Yeah.
So we did Fatboy Slim, and then we watched a bit of, I don't know if I'm saying this right, LTJ Bookham.
LTJ Bookham, drum bass DJ.
I love that. I would have stayed there for a lot longer, but
that's in Silver Haze somewhere, I'm guessing, or
yeah. And then I went and watched Billy do his DJ set, or his kind of party. Let's Have It, backstage at Park, which was very fun. And then I actually did see you again. I think I came and met you guys at San Remo at about 3. Yeah, I think we finished up. San Remo was shutting.
Maybe.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So really, really good night. So yeah, I think we called it a night at about 3-ish.
Class.
So that's me. That's my
Good Friday.
Over.
Good Friday.
Very Good Friday.
So yeah, I watched Alanis as well from a slightly different part of the field to you. I thought it was great, actually, man. I think she did quite a good job of spreading out the 4 or 5 big singles throughout the set. And her entrance is really cool. That video montage thing was a bit naff and cheesy, but she entered from like side of stage, and the first sort of note you hear is the harmonica part on Hand in My Pocket. So you sort of give a little hint of, oh, is that going to be the song? Is that going to be the song? And of course it was. It was really good. So yeah, she was class. From that, we went to watch Busta Rhymes. I don't mind telling you, Marie, it was fucking class. It was pure entertainment. What an unbelievably charismatic man. Very well rehearsed, all the sort of like bits between songs and stuff. I think most rappers just fucking rock up quite unprepared for it, and this was the complete opposite. I'd have to argue probably one of the best like hip hop shows I've ever seen.
Oh, I'm gutted I missed it.
It was great. And then from that, I departed from most of my friends and watched a band that no one else wanted to fucking watch.
Yeah.
I watched the 1975 because I think they're fantastic. I absolutely understand most of the criticism they get. I think a lot of it's valid. But I watched them with Sean and Vicky. We had a lovely, lovely evening. Stage show was sick. Set list was pretty flawless. The lack of spine about his politics was disappointing.
I mean, I've watched a little bit of it back. I've watched a couple of songs. I'm not like a massive hater. It's just not for me. Yeah, we've discussed this before, and it's something that I will bring up. Do you feel like it felt like a really triumphant Glastonbury show, or did it feel like an arena show?
Oh no, this was elevated. I think I've seen them in arenas a few times, like the stage show and stuff. They said they spent 4 times their fee on the stage show. Wow. So it was, yeah, I'd say it was an elevated 1975 experience. Okay. I'd say I thought it was class. Yeah, really good. It was great. I really enjoyed it. I'm not going to tell someone that's not a fan that you've missed out on something fucking mega. I don't think they won over loads of new people. I think a lot of people watched it on the telly since and thought, I thought it was shit. I wasn't, I was ready to sort of let him into my life a little bit and just, didn't do it for me.
I feel like if you get him, you get him. And, I when I watched a bit of it was like, I can see he's kind of being quite performative. He's trying to be the rock star. He's got the pint of Guinness and all that.
He's always been his thing anyway.
But yeah, I'm pleased you enjoyed it. I'm pleased the fans enjoyed it.
Yeah,
I think that, it was busy. It wasn't, it wasn't like the next night's headliner, which is an interesting one.
But no, that was class. And then afterwards went to the Six Music Indie Forever disco, indie disco thing at the BBC Introducing stage. We've done it last year and it was so much fun. And it was the same this year. We had such a great time. And I'm going to use a phrase, and if this comes across as egotistical, on my head be it, I was the life and soul of the party that night, Marie. I fucking brought it. I've never felt more like I was on ecstasy when I wasn't on ecstasy. I genuinely wasn't. And I just would not stop fucking jumping up and down and dancing. I had such a lovely time. There's a good gang of us, probably about 20 of us there, I think.
Yeah.
And it was, I just had a right laugh.
Yeah, I think I caught literally the first couple of songs in the last, and it did feel a bit like, it felt a bit like we were back in our favourite nightclub, didn't it? Back in the day.
Just got to think, like, a lot of these big over-the-top stages are fantastic, but sometimes it's nice to just dance with your mates and quite a sort of, not going to say underwhelming, that's not a bit unfair, but like a more understated stage, and just have a little boogie to a few songs,
Yeah, totally. And I think that's one of the things that, because it is so huge, you can feel so much pressure to constantly do things, constantly see things.
Yes.
But actually, you've got to kind of space it out and, conserve some energy.
Walk from the campsite
exactly. And
even
even for us off site, that was quite
in the right direction.
Yeah.
For you.
So, but I actually completely, I think one of the reasons I did wear myself out was I pretty much felt like I ran to park and back, which was a lot.
When you talk about that, seemed like quite a long walk.
Oh,
but yeah.
No, I think 43,000 steps was my Friday or Saturday.
Here comes the hot step. Well,
anyway.
Pretty sick. Also, you mentioned Fortet. So I'm going to give a quick shout out to Fortet as well, because I didn't watch them. I was watching the 1975. Everyone I knew that watched it said it was fucking brilliant. I want to give a shout out as well to a friend of the show, Ed Warren, who actually does the lighting for Fortet. And by all accounts, it looked absolutely fucking class. Joe Boy's here bringing more snacks.
Yeah, I went a bit rogue.
Are they all vegan though?
I was walking around the supermarket looking at the back of all the packaging.
Oh, yeah.
Trying to get, but I did get a lemon cake which has milk.
Do you know what? I'll politely decline the lemon cake then, Joe Boy. But I tell you what, great snack work. We appreciate you. Legend. Cheers, brother.
Exactly what we need.
Shall we talk about Saturday, Marie?
Yes.
Come on then, hit me with it.
So,
I'm guessing not an early start again.
No, not an early start, but it took me, had a nice kind of chilled morning, and I realised I was feeling good. Wasn't feeling hungover because of my White Claw situation, as I mentioned. And I was always a bit unsure what I was going to do on Saturday because my heart was telling me to go and see Kneecap. My head was telling me not to. And I went with my heart.
Yes, you did.
But Saturday, so we were going, the first order of the day was Pete Doherty was doing a solo set, wasn't he, at Greenpeace again? And we were heading over there, but we were running a bit late. And as we were walking through, we walked past BBC Introducing, and I was like, I recognise this. This can't be, is it? And it was CMAT doing a secret set.
Oh, class.
And I hadn't seen her the day before, and I wanted to, but, it just wasn't going to work. And we stopped and we listened to a couple of songs, and I was like, this is the beauty of this place, that you can just do that and you get to see someone. So, she sounded really, really good. And then we met you. Were you Pete Doherty?
Certainly was.
And that was great.
It was really
and
good.
I think you would agree as well. That was better, probably for personal reasons, both of us, than the Libertines on the Pyramid stage, I thought.
100%. I'd argue, I've seen Peter solo a lot over the years. That was probably the best I've ever seen him. His voice was amazing that day. Setlist was great as well. I think the second song he played is a really obscure song. I don't know if you know it, called Hooligans on E.
No.
Yeah, exactly. He played that second. Really great song about football hooligans being in ecstasy, basically. Really good song, really good set list. And it was really funny. It's funny, isn't it? You never quite know who you're going to bump into at Glastonbury.
Oh, yeah.
And he brought out, what was the guy's name he brought out?
Mr. Carl Barat.
Carl Barat, of course. So that was class. Yeah, one of the best Pete Doherty sets I've ever seen, actually, I think. But the thing was, I wasn't planning to watch him. I was going to watch a band called Fuckers on the Woodsy stage, who are a New York sort of hipster bunch of...
Yeah, I've heard of
cunts.
them.
They're really good. It's dance music, basically. Very Fatboy Slim, Groove Armada inspired, but like through a modern sort of Gen Z lens, I guess. Really good fun. But on the morning, I was like, 2 p.m, I can go to that, not have the energy and not get much out of it. Probably makes more sense to go and watch Pete Doherty solo.
Yeah, it was really, really nice. And there were so many people around us in the crowd that were just, I think people were so happy for him. It's so nice to see where he's at in his life.
Yeah.
And it just felt really special. And I think also because you were basically watching the Libertines do almost like their warm-up show for the next day. And it was just a bit euphoric. I really, really enjoyed it. And I'm so glad we went there.
100%. I'm guessing that's where we parted ways, didn't we?
Yeah, I think I gave you a Smirnoff Ice there, actually.
You did give me a Smirnoff
I did.
Ice.
And
That
you
was a
enjoyed
nice
it.
little sugary rush. That kept me going for a little bit.
Yeah.
That was nice.
Then we parted ways. So I actually parted ways with everyone.
Yep.
Because I said, I've decided, it was about an hour and a half before Kneecap were on. And I said, you know what? I'm going to go and check out West House. We're nearby. And I'll make my decision. And went over and it was busy, don't get me wrong. But I thought, do you know what? I'm going to do it. Got some food. There again, I was like, I'm going to take it easy with the drinking, like chill. And Bob Vylan were on. I wouldn't say I'd listened to much Bob Vylan, but I knew their music. I knew their tone of voice, shall we say. And I watched that set and I thought, this is quite good. You know, everyone here is in the same mood. And then I didn't think anything of it until the next day when I had a bit of downtime and I looked at my phone and I saw what happened. I mean, have you got any comment on it?
Well, I have. I think saying death to the IDF, I think people are reading into it far too much. They're calling for an end to the IDF.
So, I think, yes, I agree. Was death maybe the wrong word? But this is the thing, is this whole thing is distracting from what's...
the IDF.
Yes, exactly. And this whole thing is distracting from what is actually going on.
And also, let's get it right. Fucking hell. This is a military operation that is literally 800,000 people they've killed. So, yeah, do you know what?
Yes.
Fuck those guys.
Now,
you know, this shouldn't be a hot take. This should not be shocking. This should not be what it is. It shouldn't be controversial to say, I want that military operation to cease to exist. Death to the IDF.
It shouldn't be, but I do. One thing that I have done since I came back, and I will send you some afterwards, is, as I mentioned, it felt like the media were out to get Glastonbury this year. But I did find myself thinking, when I was looking back at this from a different perspective when I was back, I wanted to read how some Jewish people at Glastonbury had found it. And it was really interesting to read it. And I think that, you know, as I say, I don't disagree with Bob Vylan's sentiment at all. But I do think that it must have felt very different this year, being a Jewish person, and I'm talking about a Jewish person that, you know, does not support the... As in, I'm making an assumption here, that does not support what is going on and support the IDF. But, you know, I do think what's crazy is that the BBC was so swept up in Kneecap that they forgot that there was a band who were just, if not more political.
Yeah.
And I do just think that shows, like, why did no one think about that? Why did no one consider to broadcast? They were making jokes about being broadcast live and the fact that was happening before it did.
Because I caught a bit of this, so I heard a bit of it. I was walking we watched Weezer afterwards, I think. We grabbed something to eat maybe, then watched Weezer. And I could hear Bob Vylan and I said, oh, we're on the BBC. We got to behave ourselves. And I thought, I wonder what he's going to say. But because I was walking, I couldn't quite hear what he was saying. But it felt like, you know, he was being a bit provocative, and why the fuck not? You know? Yeah.
And you know, it's I just think it's the times we live in now. That people are kind of just desperate to detract from what's actually going on, what's the actual issue. And I, you know, think how they've kind of played it since by coming out and making those statements has been quite interesting. And I don't necessarily believe that it's going to harm their career, because I don't necessarily...
They've had their visas removed from America.
Well,
they can't go to America now.
That is true.
And they've had a festival they're playing the next couple of weeks. They've had to pull out.
Yeah, but I think there's something quite interesting about... I read that they're actually... It's the organisers... It's the pressure that the organisers have received.
Exactly.
It's not the organisers themselves.
They literally had death threats, like very valid death threats. Someone had got their phone number, knew where they lived, had all their details, and, you know, was threatening to kill them if this band performed. You can't fucking blame them, you know what I mean?
It's
Jesus.
but there's so much nuance with this because
Yeah, it is.
you know,
I don't think either of us are quite intelligent enough to.
No, and there's so much nuance with it, and there's so much, but you know, I think they certainly warmed up for Kneecap anyway.
Yeah, it was a perfect booking. It really was.
Yeah.
And you know, aftermath aside, fucking perfect for Bob Vylan to have the Kneecap fans there, ready for them.
Yeah.
I saw Bob Vylan last year actually at Glastonbury. I think it was introducing stage. I think it was. It was class. They're really good. I think they're class. Is there more to add about Kneecap that you hadn't covered? We discussed them at the start of the show.
It was just such a incredible experience. I was on my own. There was loads of people around me. Everyone was dancing. There was flares. We all had flags. It was just amazing.
Yeah,
and I'm
must have been a
so
moment.
glad I saw it. And I
was
came away
gutted to
on
miss
such a
it.
high.
It was gutted to miss it. It felt like history was being made that day.
It did, yeah.
And I just knew it'd be too much hard work. I just knew it would be. So like, I knew I was watching the week after. Had to make my peace of it. It's a shame, but it's fine. Oh yeah, I was going to say, yeah, fair play to the BBC actually, because obviously the whole time was they're not going to show it. It won't be on the BBC at all. And when I got home, they had an hour's worth of the performance on there. So, and a lot of the political messaging was kept in. It might have edited out a few bits, but to be fair to them, the BBC did show what felt like the entire set.
Yeah, it did.
Can't knock them for that.
And also, obviously, there was the amazing lady who live streamed the whole thing on TikTok.
What a fucking legend.
I know. And the phone signal was so good this year that I think even I could have done that.
Wow.
I was very impressed with that.
Class.
Thank you.
She's a legend, isn't she? Is it? What's her name? Carol from Wales or something, wasn't it? I can't remember
It was
what it was now.
Helen.
There you go. Yeah, I knew it was a mum's name. Yeah. Yeah, so I didn't. Yeah, so this we parted ways. I watched Weezer and I watched the first half of Ammo and the Sniffers. Weezer were fantastic and really good best of set list. Played incredibly well. All four of that band are fantastic singers. So the harmonies were great. Huge choruses. Loads of fun. First time seeing Weezer. Did not disappoint at all. Watched the first half of Amel, but left to make sure I had a good spot for the mysterious Patchwork.
So there was a rumour that morning that it was, I mean, obviously we all had, you know, there was obviously a lot of information that it was Pulp, but a rumour around that morning that it was Chapel Roan. And I was like,
Wouldn't have
that
minded it.
That is a win-win situation.
Yeah, exactly.
But I mean, when they came out and that first bit of Ease and Whiz kicked in, and I am a massive Pulp fan.
I was hoping they'd open with that actually. So for those who didn't catch it, the intro was just mad. There's loads of people in waterproof stood hand in hand. Did you see this?
Yeah.
Yeah. And all stood in a line, and it was deliberately quite, what's I'm looking for? Like quite abstract. And you're thinking, what the fuck is this?
What was it? I'd love to know. Like, what have they actually said? Like, what it was supposed to mean?
I think it was supposed to be a bunch of people dressed for bad conditions at Glastonbury. I don't think it was like a political message or anything.
Yeah, because I was like, who are they? Like, what were they?
Yeah,
were
I think they were just random people.
Yeah.
And yeah, and you're thinking, what the fuck is going on? And then this message on the screens, are you ready? I'm thinking, oh, what the fuck is it going to be? For Pulp Summer. And there was only one answer to that question. Seeing that message on the screen and the unmistakable plinky plonky piano opening of Sorted for Ease and Whiz. Fucking hell.
It was amazing. Yeah, so I had my first emotional moment of the weekend. And we all know that everyone has to cry like Glastonbury over things. And I was trying to meet some friends and it didn't quite work out. And I was just like, oh my God, I'm watching my favourite band. This is absolutely incredible.
What your favourite band are they?
One of my favourite bands. They'd probably make the top 10, I reckon.
Yeah, wow.
Yeah. Then I found Joe and I found some of our friends and I was just so happy. And I watched Common People on one of the boys' shoulders.
Love it.
And I was just crying so hard because it was just an amazing moment. I will always remember it. It's probably my headliner of the festival.
Yeah, I think the same for me as well. Probably the best thing I saw. You know, an hour of Pulp was a pretty tight set, isn't it? There's no fluff on that. I think they played Acrylic Afternoon, which I don't think they needed to do that one, really. That was a bit of a lull in the set.
Spike Island was great, wasn't it?
Single of the year for me. It is so good. Yeah, absolutely. Absolute 10 out of 10 song. Babies, do you remember the first time? Disco 2000. Oh, fucking hell.
I'm going to watch it back after this, you know.
Come on. But then Common People, I mean, it's probably one of the best songs of all time.
100%.
It's about 8 minutes long. It's not long enough. I can keep doing it forever. It was fucking brilliant. And watching the red arrows fly over that point as well.
Yeah. Oh my God.
It was a moment, wasn't it? Fucking hell, for lack of a better word.
No, it really was. And I think he's so charismatic. He's got such great, you know, and he's got such great like stage
aura.
Presence, everything about him.
Yeah.
So yeah, absolutely loved it.
Do you know what we did afterwards?
Yeah, do you know what? I'm going to speed through what I did afterwards.
Please, go on.
Well, yeah. So went to see Father John Misty.
Oh,
I love
class.
him.
I was gutted to miss him. Yeah.
Yeah, I love him, and we watched him, but we kind of watched him like from the edge of
Yeah.
the I think we all like had some food. Like a
Sure.
few of the gang didn't know him that well, so that was nice. And then I went and I met some of the girls. I don't think you were there for this.
No.
For Kate Nash.
No, then what's Kate?
Now I mentioned last time I was on here that obviously I grew up with Kate and her sisters, and they're just lovely people. And
We watched Fat Dog with, didn't we, actually?
yeah. And I really, when it was sort of mentioned that we could catch Kate quite easily on the way to our
other
next
stage.
other
Yeah,
stage, I was like, that would be great. And oh my God, it was incredible. She was just like her stage presence too. I really enjoyed it, and it was so many of her old songs that I hadn't heard in years. And I cried again at that. I cried because, and I quote, everyone's just got really nice boyfriends and husbands, and I've seen them all look out for all of us over the weekend. And isn't it nice when you're hearing these songs when you were younger, and now like everyone's just in lovely places?
That's really nice. I think we're a pretty good non-toxic man friendship group, aren't we?
Yeah,
It's a bit of a dickhead-free zone.
most of the time. No, it is. But yeah, it was so lovely, and she was great. And I think there again, we talk about politics at the festival, but her song Germ, I believe it's called, about obviously trans rights and transphobes. You know, like she smashed it, and she was saying just as much as everyone else, but it didn't make
the headlines.
The headlines for good or bad
they
reasons.
weren't the prepared punch bag for the media.
No, but
also it does feel like a really exciting new chapter for Kate's career, actually, doesn't it? It feels like she's had a few years, well, basically been chasing that first album her entire career, but it feels like a new exciting era for her now, where people are very much rediscovering her, and like she feels that she's at the forefront of something quite exciting again, which she probably hasn't been at for a long time now. Really cool.
Yeah.
Really happy to really happy to see her do this. Yeah.
Yeah, 100%.
Shout out to Kate. Pretty fun act afterwards, wasn't it, Marie?
Yeah, so we watched Charlie together. So what did you do before Charlie?
I don't think I've done much. I think I just chilled out at the campsite, you know.
Okay.
Yeah,
Good
gathered
plan.
my thoughts and beers. And then, had I watched someone before Charlie? Who was on before Charlie?
I can't remember.
Maybe not. Either way, we met up for Charlie, and wow, Brat Summer.
So I think, no, I wouldn't have recorded, we wouldn't have done our last podcast before, but I felt like I had quite a good idea of what it was going to be like.
Yes.
It was, in my mind, it was going to be her stage show, like her arena show. It was going to be just her doing the thing that she does. And it wasn't going to be any more than that. And it was amazing. It was so much fun. But I think I was right in what I thought it was. Like, there was no special guests. There was no kind of big crowd moment. I felt like I watched the Sweat Tour. I didn't feel like I watched incredible, memorable headliner, but I had a lot of fun doing it.
Yeah.
And yeah, we just had a great time.
Yeah, I think that's exactly right. It was a little disappointing, the lack of special guests, wasn't it?
Yeah.
I was saying that something quite cool did happen during her set. Do you remember? Where a certain special guest made their way past us.
It was George, wasn't it?
George Daniel, the previous night's headliner, escorted by security, was being taken to the watching tower on the mixing desk.
Yes, I do remember that.
So that must be fucking difficult. Like, can you imagine, because the field is absolutely rammed. Every single person, well, not every single, but pretty much everyone watching Charlie is probably quite obsessed with you. So, like, you just walk right past us. Yes, George, good stuff last night, brother. How you doing? Yeah, cheers, mate. Nice one.
I wouldn't have known who he was. You would.
I knew.
But just on that note, I did have a incredible star spotlight that evening, which I still now can't even believe.
Pretty cool, wasn't it?
In San Remo.
In San Remo.
Paul Mescal,
And-
Daisy Edgar Jones.
Yeah.
Just hanging out, just chilling.
Having a
Amazing.
dance.
Amazing.
It was class. So, yeah, Charlie was fun. Like I said, it wasn't... Yeah, it did like a little something in the special guest thing, but it's, just a girly, nice
the
night
vibes were
out
good.
with bunch of bangers. It was great.
And I want to shout out to my new friend Holly, who I met in the crowd
Yes.
that night, who I bumped into twice actually after. But yeah,
We're
it was just.
expecting her to listen to this podcast, aren't we?
Oh, well, I hope so. We
If
did
you're out there,
mention it a
if
couple
you're
of times.
listening.
Sorry, Holly. But yeah, no. It was it was just a good fun night, and I was getting live updates from Neil Young whilst we were watching it.
Yeah, she mentioned one of these live updates. It's
Yeah.
quite funny.
So he didn't want me to say this, but sorry, Josh. So Joe was texting me, and he was like, "Oh, yeah, it's pretty quiet here. It's pretty chilled." Our friend Josh actually fell asleep, and there's a very funny photo of him just lying on sort of empty ground,
pyramid
surrounded by cans. And you know when you sort of think, yeah, I made the right decision. So that wise for me, even though Charlie was just, it was fun, it was what I thought it was, I had no regrets after about going to it.
Yeah,
So,
absolutely. It's funny because Josh gave me a lot of shit for watching the 1975. He gave me a lot of shit for watching Charlie XCX. Oh, I'm not going to watch some proper music. I'm going to watch Neil Young horizontally asleep. Fuck off, lad. Fuck off. But yeah, a successful night. The plan was afterwards, after Charlie, I was going to go to the park and watch a band called Getdown Services at the Crow's Nest. It was too fucking rammed. Just couldn't get out of there. So we went to San Remo for a little dance, didn't we? But all my mates that made it up to Getdown Services said, quite possibly the band of the weekend.
Really?
Yeah, we'll come back to that. What else you got up to on Saturday night? Is there anything else we've not covered here?
We did just a bit of a lap again of Shangri-La.
Yes.
So
did I actually. Yeah, I made it as far as Shangri-La. I tried to watch Finnish rock and roll band Us.
Oh yes, I do remember trying to meet you for that.
Yeah. I got a bit sleepy, Marie. I got there and I just thought, I haven't got it in me.
Yeah,
I'm calling it a night.
We went up there and we had a really good time. There again, I can't tell you anything specific that we watched or did, but this was where the whole camping off-site thing became a bit tiring, because when we decided,
a long way, isn't it? Yeah,
at about close to 4, we were going to go back. It took an hour, and we were all like quite literally like just so desperate to climb into that bed because we were so exhausted. And it was great, but you know, if you're going to be in Shangri-La, it's pretty far. Like that's why I say Worthy View if you're going to do glamping is probably the best one. But anyway,
sure, that's a shorter walk, isn't it? I guess.
Yes,
yeah.
But no, great Saturday, loved it.
Lovely. And then we're down to the last day of the festival, Marie. Boo.
I know. I always find Sunday tough.
Yeah.
I normally get a bit sad on Sunday, and I'm a bit done. And I had probably one of my favourite Sundays ever.
Wallop.
Yeah.
So where did your Sunday start?
My Sunday started with me lying on the bed saying, I can't do this anymore. I'm so tired. I actually can't walk. But I got myself up. I didn't, and as you can tell from this podcast, I bloody love to talk. I don't think I really spoke much for like 3 hours. I was that tired. Yeah. I was like, right, we're going to go. We're going to go out. We went straight up to Pyramid to watch Libertines, which we both said we sort of sat and didn't talk to each other. And I then had a nap. And we were right up the top of Pyramid, and it's really nice up there. It's very chilled. I don't think I've ever been up as high before. And I knew I was going to have a real Pyramid Sunday, and it was just lovely.
Nice.
Like, I feel like, you know, sometimes Sunday can be a bit hard because you've got most of the festival who are just a bit knackered and tired and dirty, and then you've got like fresh people coming in. But actually up there, it all felt like we were all sort of on the same wavelength. And then that went straight into Nile Rodgers. No, didn't. No, Rod. Oh my God, sorry.
Mixed reviews for Rod, wasn't it?
I was really excited for Rod. And it was just a bit dated.
Yeah,
it was fine, don't get me
naff.
wrong, but it was naff. And the graphics bothered me. He said he spent all that money, and I was like, "Oh, who's a graphic designer? You
Sun's out now. Look at this. Fucking hell. All right, Joe.
Every season." But yeah, it felt just his commentary. The comment he made, it was about Ukraine. Was it Ukraine he made a comment about?
There was a Farage comment that came out in the press
on
a few days
stage,
beforehand. I don't know what he said about Ukraine.
Because he made a comment about the Middle East, and it felt like he was obviously trying to make some sort of reference to the political situation, but it felt like he was kind of almost like, well, there's other things going on in other countries.
Old man shit
and also because Kneecap kept calling him Rod the Prod.
Yeah.
Which made me laugh.
But yeah. Funny. Nice. I was the most organised I've ever been on a Sunday, Marie. Do you know what I did when I first woke up?
Oh, packed up your tent?
I packed up my fucking tent, mate.
We did that as well, actually.
Yeah, and I'd left it in the drop-off thing. First time I'd done this. So pretty much all my gear was there. Kept a few beers in someone else's tent. And I was basically ready to go after that. It was class. So no matter what happened, all I had to do at the end of the day was just go to the lock-up, pick up my gear, get on the coach. First I'm doing that technique, and let me tell you, would recommend. As mentioned, watch the Libertines. I'm saying watch in inverted commas because I went to bed halfway through it.
Oh, we'd seen it the day before.
We'd seen it the day before. Right. We've seen we get it Gunnersby Park this year. It's fine. Slept for a little bit and then made my way towards Croissant Neuf in quite a good time. So I watched a bit of Turnstile at the other stage. Fucking class. You a Turnstile fan?
Yeah, I was gutted. I missed that, but I knew it wasn't going to work. And
Yeah.
I think Sunday was about kind of like almost perseverance. I really Sunday, you knew. As I say, I was so, my legs were just really not working by then. So I was like, I've got to be a pyramid wanker today.
No, fair enough. Sometimes you gotta do it. I was gutted to miss Nile and Chic. Always good, always great.
Oh.
Fucking class, aren't they? Just
honestly, wasn't that bothered about. I mean, I was always going to watch it, but I wasn't that fussed before. But it was the best party.
yeah.
Oh my god, it lifted. I had that and some really good avocado on toast, and it was like the combination of those
We've
two
grown up a bit,
things.
haven't we? Fucking hell.
And actually, and a pint of really, really strong cider that was the most disgusting and delicious thing I'd ever had. It was so many emotions in one pint.
Wow.
Those three things was just like an instant mood lifter, and I felt like I'd come out of my funk. I was really happy, and it was just so fun. I really want to watch it back.
Sick. I've just realised something. What I mentioned, who I watched before Charlie, it was Skepta.
Oh yeah,
Of course, Skepta, the last minute addition to the lineup. So me, Gene, and Steph watched Skepta. It was a right laugh.
that was on Saturday, wasn't it?
That was on Saturday before
because
Charlie. Yeah.
I must say I was gutted, obviously, when Deftones pulled
Yeah, it's
out.
gutted to watch it with
But
Deftones.
I also
Yeah.
thought this does make my life a little bit easier now in terms of
One less thing to
clashes,
worry
so,
about.
Yeah.
Yeah, exactly. So well done, Skepta, for stepping up. You absolutely smashed it, actually. But then, yes, as mentioned, I went to watch Getdown Services. Do you know much about Getdown Services and what their vibe is?
No, I just know that you lot love them, and I do tend to listen to your recommendations, but I haven't actually yet.
Well, for anyone
Sorry.
listening out there, I would definitely recommend taking this one on board. Getdown Services are two of the funniest fuckers I've ever seen on stage in my life. That most of their songs are about strange food habits.
Okay.
Done it in such a charismatic and funny way. Literally laugh out loud lyrics. I think it's a bit like The Streets meets the Talking Heads with more songs about greed and indulgence and cream cakes.
Okay.
Absolutely fucking brilliant. So they played a very packed Croissant Neuf stage. It was boiling hot. It was rammed in there, and every single person knew every word. Really danceable stuff. The two of them were clearly quite overwhelmed by how big and reactive the crowd was for it. They were very emotional in places. Stole the weekend. Them and Pulp, without a doubt, two best things I saw all weekend. Not listened to Getdown Services yet. Cannot recommend them enough, listeners. Get stuck in. I brought a ticket on the Monday after Glastonbury to go and watch them at Electric Ballroom in Camden later in the year. So move quickly is my recommendation.
I actually I have been already thinking about some of the people I missed and like trying to go and see them and how we can make it work. Yeah, so I actually, there again, sort of thinking about making things work and timings. I actually went to see another secret set on BBC Introducing.
Tell me more.
For the second time that week, I went to see Kate Nash. So we went, and there again, we kind of chilled at the back. We had some food, we had a couple of drinks. It was all nice. We like met everyone there to go to Pyramid, and yeah, she was great again. I think and it was actually nice because I'd had the experience of walking past and going the day before with CMAT, and it was so funny to see people. And when she started playing Foundations, obviously it just erupted, and it was really,
amazing.
really nice moment. So yeah, I was gearing up for Olivia.
How was she?
So on the last podcast, I was saying, you know, she's going to do something special. She's going to take this seriously. She don't mess around.
Yeah.
And I think even there'd been those pictures that had been leaked of her on her boyfriend's shoulders watching Pulp the day before. So even that, people were like,
This girl gets it.
She know, yeah.
Yeah.
And Joe and our friend Charlie had both said they were going to go and watch Prodigy, but we'd all decided we were driving home early on Sunday. We were going early, and everyone needed to kind of have a bit of an early night. Prodigy was, you can't go and do Prodigy like half-hearted, can you?
Sure.
So they said, you know what, we're going to come and watch her with you girls. And me and Lucy were like, you are not going to regret this. It's going to be great. And Leanne was there as well. And obviously, I mean, I was actually wearing a Olivia Rodrigo t-shirt. And she was just everything I thought she'd be and more. The choice to bring out Robert Smith and do those two songs was just so smart. Apparently, there was loads of like dads there and mums with their teenage daughters, and they said it was just like so funny to see their reaction when suddenly someone from their era was there. But she sounded great, she looked great, staging was great, musicians were great. I get it if it's not your
her
thing.
band looked great, actually. Yeah.
You know, I get it if it's not your thing, but for me, I think whereas people who maybe watched 1975 and weren't fans might have gone, I don't really get it. I think it would have been hard to not have understood why she deserved that place. So
what I think was particularly good about it, watching it back on the telly, was just seeing so many people with guitars on stage for like a pop act. I think say you go and watch like Sabrina Carpenter this weekend.
Yeah.
Young teenagers aren't going to watch that and go, "Oh, I want to be like, I want to be a singer. I want to play drums, or I want to learn guitar." So many kids would have watched that show and gone, "Mum, I want a guitar."
100%.
I think that's so cool. So like you got made a stone not to feel something there. I think that's class.
I don't really believe in like making female musicians role models just because they're female, but I do think that she is pretty a pretty
good
great
role model.
person. Yeah, exactly. But
absolutely.
And it was the perfect way to finish festival. We went straight home after that.
Fair play.
And got into that lovely bed for the last time. And
Love
we were
that for
out
you.
of there by, I think we were out of there by about 6:30. Home by 9ish.
Good work. A few more bands for me though. After Getdown Services, watched a band I wasn't planning to watch actually. Brian Jonestown Massacre.
Yeah, Joe's gutted. He really wanted to go to do it, but it just didn't work out.
Yeah. A band I know so little about. I mean, I've still not seen their iconic movie, Dig, which I've heard nothing but good things about. I couldn't even have told you one of their songs in all honesty. And I think that sort of worked out well. Got there. And very Velvet Underground is sort of how I describe their music. Very heroin-y, for lack of a better word. It was very woozy. And but I think it worked perfectly on a Sunday. We'd chilled out having a frozen daiquiri or frozen pina colada or something, I think it was. And sunset slot, really hazy. It was beautiful. We really, really enjoyed that. I don't think I'd need to watch them again because it was such a perfect setting for it. It was class. After that, made our way to the park to watch one of the bands.
Oh, yeah.
Yes, I did.
Yeah.
I watched the fucking Maccabees.
I mean, if you didn't, that would be the shocker.
Unimaginable for this guy not to watch the Maccabees after watching him the previous week in Berlin. It was, of course, amazing. Florence coming out was fucking class. Dog days are over.
Dreamy.
It was really good, man. People went apeshit. We were quite far back, so our group of about 6-7 of us were pretty much the only ones there getting stuck in, I think.
Really?
But we had a really good time, so no regrets at all there. Arms around each other for precious time. Great core memories were made. It was beautiful. From there, made our way over to Carhenge. The plan was there was a UK garage rave thing going on at Terminal 1. And then we had a great Glastonbury moment where something really unexpected took us away from there. So at Carhenge, this massive, I don't know how to even describe it, like Mad Max vehicle appeared that was like something, well, it's like something from Mad Max. It was spitting out fire from everywhere. And it was, I could see afterwards, the guy driving the vehicle, is it Joe Mount, the guy he's called?
I don't know.
Yeah, he's basically worked at Glastonbury since the 80s, and he makes all the mad sculptures and stuff there. And it was fucking bananas. It was really cool. And he had this like calypso band being driven on the back of a car afterwards. So like, I remember mate Reese afterwards said, "Do you see any mad shit?" And I sent him a video of this, and he goes, "This mad enough for you?" And he goes, "Yeah, that's perfect. That's definitely mad enough." So that was a really great moment, something really unexpected happening. And also another shout out to Ed Warren, because he makes Carhenge. That's all him.
I didn't make it there this year. I didn't actually make it to Terminal 1 either. I didn't make it to the acoustic stage, which I bloody raved about last time. But that's just how it works, you know?
That's the way it works. So that was cool. Really enjoyed that. A nice, very unexpected thing to do. We watched, from there, went to Shangri-La and watched an act I was really hoping I would catch at 2 a.m. It was a guy called Mark Rabile. You heard of Mark Rabile?
No.
He's got about 3 million followers on Instagram or something. And basically, he was like a street performer that makes these improv electro songs. Just asks people to say something and starts rapping it and turns it into like this improv dance music. It's fucking great. And he made a really great impassioned speech about Palestine, invited someone from the audience that had a Palestine flag onto the stage. And it was great. I don't know if he's something at the Shangri-La stage this year, but basically it's done like big jellyfish above you which light up.
Yes.
Fucking hell, it was class. Really good.
That whole area just felt so much more, and pleasant is not really the word that they'd want it to be described at, but just like with the crowding, it just felt so much smarter, so much easier to navigate. Yeah. Like I just spent so much less time queuing for things this year. But your brother did get in a crush that I think he said was a bit neggy at one point. He said he got about half an hour and it kind of killed their night. I can't remember when. But they were the only people that I heard of kind of having a bit of a tough time. But hey, you know, it's still, if they're showing that much of an improvement, then we've just got to take it for what it is.
Yeah. And it was class. That was the last thing I watched, basically. So from there, I went to my lockup. I went to my coach, got the coach at 4 a.m., put a little eye mask over my face, and it was as if I time travelled. I woke up at Wembley Stadium and got my mate got the tube home from there, 2 stops to Dollis Hill, and I was home not too dissimilar a time from you. I think it was 7:30, 8 o'clock I got home, and back to reality just like that.
I know. I found the recovery, as I say, a bit easier this year. I felt
100%.
like it was but I think also because we knew we had a good gig on Saturday, so maybe the blues will really hit me now. Now I've dissected it all.
Yeah. Post Fontaine's Kneecap. We did it, Marie.
We did it.
We did it. I would call it a very successful year again. I think I watched a lot less acts than previous years, in all honesty. Wasn't out as late as previous years. I was slower this year, I think, but I still really, really enjoyed myself. And just the quality of the banter and laughter and the bullshit. Like, some of the fucking laughing I've done this year. My mates sat around doing nothing. It was fucking world class.
Yeah, I think, as I say, my life is very different to what it was last time I went.
Sure.
And I don't have... That's the longest I've been away from my son, and probably will be for a long time. And I think it made me appreciate it even more. It made me just, enjoy being with such lovely people in such a great place. And yeah.
Shall we hear from another friend of the show? It's a rhetorical question. We're about to hear from another friend of the show. It's Mr. Thomas Clues, guitar tech to the great and famous, including this year's headliners on the Park stage, the Maccabees. Let's cut to Tom.
Hello, Bill, and all of your wonderful listeners. Yeah, quick summary on Glastonbury 2025. It was in and out for me. I was with the Maccabees, and we spent the Saturday in a nearby town, and there was a whiff of Christmas Eve about the day. Technically, a very boring day. Lots of waiting around and hustling to get our truck in position so we could load in. Cut forward to the show, and it was an absolute victory. For those of you that haven't seen it, it's on the iPlayer. And return to form is a cliche, isn't it? This was beyond that, I think. And let's just hope that the lads come back after the couple of fallow years with a killer new album and a lot of new fans. It was a wondrous time, Bill. It was fucking amazing, and there was a lot of joy in the camp after the show. Oh, I will add this, though, Bill. We talked briefly about the 1975. You might edit this out, you may keep it in, but I think it's really important to point out that not only did Matty Healy make himself look stupid by saying, you leave the house and there's politics everywhere, there's lots of politics and we should have less politics. I mean, not completely not understanding that, to take an apolitical stance is incredibly political itself, and actively promoting disengagement from what's happening in the world, particularly when it's babies being killed, is a fucking disgrace. So yeah, if I saw Healy, I would definitely tell him about himself. Anyway, big love, and hopefully see you soon.
Thomas Clues there, quite rightly calling out Matty Healy for his apolitical stance this year. Episode's nearly over. Marie's got a few tricks up her sleeves just before we sign off, though. So let's cut back to Marie and see what's going on.
I made a list of a couple of things that I thought made the festival better and easier.
Yes, please.
I was showing you this last night, and also what I would do next time. So nice way to finish time. So the things that were my essentials, or I would 100% need or recommend, is one of those USB mini fans. They saved you, definitely. I was giving that to you at one point. They are great because when you're in a crowd or you're in any situation and you feel a bit overwhelmed, you get the fan out. I don't know why, but there was just so many times when I was like, I just needed to chill with my fan.
When I brought one, it was fucking uncharged, wasn't it? I left it charging at home. I hadn't turned it on or plugged it in properly. I had a dead fan.
Oh my God, that's really sad.
Fuming.
So you charge your fan and bring it. Natural lime white claws, leaving at 6 a.m. on Monday. Colperol, which is that really strong ibuprofen for your sore feet. You eat whenever you see somewhere without a queue. That's it. It doesn't matter what it is. Just eat it. You should go to San Remo at the end of the night, but I didn't really do that because that would have made my life easier.
You went there once.
I stopped by. This is a great one. I saw this on TikTok before. Put a little bit of hand soap in a bottle and keep it in your bag. Washing your hands makes you feel so much better. Hand sanitizer doesn't kill all the germs, apparently. And if you just can wash your hands,
get a bit stuck in.
it is so good.
Like that.
So that was great. Having a liquid IV or an electrolyte before you go to bed, not the next morning, makes you sleep so much better.
Ooh.
But there again, I kind of sure that probably having a bed helped with that. What I would do next time, SPF lip balm, not just lip balm. So many people got sunburned lips this year.
Right.
Because lip balm doesn't actually protect it. Joseph did.
There's a hand in the air at the back.
He moaned about his sore lips for... Pardon? Oh, he's got sore lips.
His lips been fucked ever since. It's the only thing that shut him up, though.
It's a bit... it's a little bit extra, but there were people on TikTok who bought makeshift foot spas, and
That is a bit
honestly,
extra, fucking hell.
like a inflatable foot spa, like they put their and they bring some salts and stuff for it. I really could have done with that.
Sick.
And finally, you had a really good hat.
I had the best.
I wrote
hat
it on my
Glastonbury.
list. It was like a sort of it was quite compact, but it had a sort of flap at the back. It's making it was cooler than it sounds. It had like a flap at the back that covered your neck.
It was like a sheet at the back, wasn't it?
And when it's that hot, you need that. I had a massive
I
hat.
had proper protection. Your hat was pretty good, but my hat was the most suitable hat at Glastonbury.
Yeah, it was.
I think if it weren't a North Face hat, I would look like a total dickhead. I think because it was a North Face hat, it elevated it a little bit. But it's a hat you can only wear under extreme weather conditions. If I was to pop to the shops,
it's quite extreme.
on like an April, sunny day, people go, mate, fucking calm down. But on a 30-degree day at a festival, absolutely appropriate. It saved not just my bacon, it saved my neck.
There was a lot of sunburn going on there.
Sunstroke there was, Jesus, even in the
my
campsite.
God.
Bloody, there's a few victims falling.
I know, poor Steph.
Poor Steph, man, fucking hell. But yeah, shout out to the hat. And also, adding to that, actually, I wore a neckerchief this year on a few days. Partly for fashion, I don't mind telling you. But I wear a lot of like Cuban shirts with like exposed neck. Having the neckerchief thing covering your neck, baller move.
I also had walking boots for the first time.
Yeah, same. Actually, so did I. Yeah.
Wow. But anyway, I can't believe we've got 2 years.
2 years.
2 years
What
to
the
go.
fuck are we going to do? We've got to find out what we're going to do next summer now, guys. We've got a year to... Well, we've got less than a year to plan that, so we'll find something. Could we go back to Primavera? Could it be done? Time will tell.
No, I don't think.
Tricky.
I don't think for me. I think I'd like to try. I'd like to try Shambhala. I've heard that's really good. Or possibly, no, I'm not too old. I'd like to try Boomtown, but I don't know if I would survive that.
I don't think you would, mate.
I've watched all the TPD TV videos, and
yeah, it's a bit extreme, isn't
yeah.
it? Well, look, this has been a right laugh. We've done it again. Glastonbury has been debriefed. We can step away from the Glastonbury content for a little bit now, can't we? And go back to the actual format of this bloody podcast.
Yeah, you won't be hearing from me for a long time.
That's enough, Marie, for a little bit. But no, thanks for doing this again, Marie. The return that people wanted and needed. This has been class. Free Palestine, free Palestine, free Palestine. This has been this album. She has been Marie Morgan. Thank you and goodbye. Did you think we were done? No. We've got one more in us. Let's hear from another friend of the show. From the iconic festival sounds, it's the much loved Bilal. Hello, Bilal. How was your Glastonbury, my friends?
Hey, William. Bilal here from Festival Sound. What an amazing Glastonbury. The only thing that didn't go to plan was the two of us didn't manage to bump into each other at some point over the weekend. But hey, that's just the way. Wednesday, did something different, showed up at gate D around 11 o'clock, walked straight in, no queues, Absolute genius move, whoever suggested that. Thursday, our tradition is to meet at the massive table in Croissant Neuf. So a few of us, about 10 of us, get together. We headed off in our own direction. I found myself at Lonely Hearts for Nuria. What a phenomenal DJ set. She came on after Major League. Nuria came on and did not stop for that full hour, maybe even an hour and a half. And the energy levels just kept going up and up and up, even through the rain. People stayed, they loved it. Friday, highlight has to be starting early for Lord in Woodsies. She put on a really tight set. The stuff off the new album was brilliant, and a couple of songs at the end for more casual fans like me, and yeah, a couple of bangers to end with. It was a really brilliant way for the proper weekend to kick off. But the main highlight for me on Friday has to be Busta Rhymes putting on a different show. So it wasn't end-to-end performance in terms of music. He was chatting to the crowd, telling little stories. Saturday, without a doubt, highlight was Max Cooper at the Glade AV set. It was high energy. We were ready to go then. I think he finished around 9 o'clock. Absolute dream DJ set for me. Something different on Sunday. Somehow the highlight was me stumbling into Sensation Seekers around the afternoon to see Otto and Astrid. And it was basically a set talking about the lead singer's trauma, seeing his parents eaten by lions when he was a child. And he was expressing this through music. And again, that's the beauty of Glastonbury, seeing stuff like that you never would have seen at any other time, any other place. What a weekend. Next time, let's make a plan to meet up and we'll watch a set together.